process, trying to deal with not needing running and stuff like that? Do you take anything from talking to him kind of as you're going through your
Certainly, Kyle and I probably talk. We talk every day, but about the combine specifically, probably once a week leading up into it. And then even still, like while I'm down here, he's hitting me up, making sure I'm smooth and giving me tips on the MRI center and all that stuff. So every day, we still talk.
Have you met with him this week?
I have.
Was that a formal or informal meeting?
Informal.
How did that go? What did they talk to you about?
It went well. I mean, just typical meeting, just running through where I come from, where I grew up, the scheme that I played in, and just asking legitimate questions. So it went well.
What did you learn about yourself during your time in college? Find out or learn?
I found how to be vulnerable. I had some injuries in college, obviously, and in that the most recent one, I was living by myself, and I had to lean on my teammates more, lean on my coaches more, lean on my family, my girlfriend, and I was never like one to open up in that regard. So it was definitely tough, but I learned how to be vulnerable and how to have important conversations and speak about how I'm feeling about certain things. So it's one of the biggest things.
Okay, have you had a chance to talk to Houston Texans while you're here?
I have.
Was that a formal interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. With them at the Senior Bowl too?
I did. I think I had a phone with them at the Senior Bowl, yeah.
How do you feel like all of your experience and games played in college is going to help you kind of pick things up quickly at the NFL level? And is that a point of emphasis of teams that have had interest in you?
Certainly. I feel like Notre Dame prepared us well. And that's a conversation that's ongoing with all the guys that's down here. And even at the Senior Bowl, I feel like we were well prepared. I attribute Mike Mickens and Al Golden a lot, man. Coach Golden came from the NFL, obviously, so he had that experience. Coach Mickens, he played the position, he understands the position, he's coached great cornerback, so just the knowledge that I gained from those guys is second to none. I'm really appreciative of that.
Cam, I think most people are assuming that Benjamin Morrison's going to be right here next year.
He will be.
Yep. What stands out about him, from the perspective of you being his teammate?
BMO, man, he's a little gnat. Man, that dude was in my back pocket since day one, and he had traits that I didn't have as a freshman, right? He's always trying to get better, right? And I'm not saying that I wasn't trying to get better, but this dude, he's just extremely hungry. Since day one, he's finding ways to get better. He's finding ways to get extra work on the field. He's texting me at all times of the night, trying to watch film and trying to learn certain things about the defense, and he's always just worried about getting better, and I always tell him just to relax a little bit. It's gonna work out. He has the intangibles, but there's no relaxing that dude. So yeah.
And what are you expecting from Jaden Mickey, Christian Craig, kind of stepping up in your place?
They're good. I mean, that entire corner room is good. Coach Mickens did a really good job instilling the traits into them and leaning on them and making sure they're smooth. And that defense is back. I mean, there's not going to be a drop off next year. If not better.
You had a formal with the Lions this week?
Not this week, though.
Yeah. Have you met with the Eagles at all while you were here?
While I was here, no. I met with them a lot at the Senior Bowl. Yeah.
And who are some of the corners that you look to in the league that you kind of emulate?
So Coach Mickens, he coached Sauce Gardner, obviously, and him and I have similar stature. So I watched a lot of his game in college because we played a similar defense. I watched Richard Sherman growing up, and he was always a guy that I watched his game. And then Pat Surtain, I feel like he can do everything. He's a technician, and being 6'2", he can do everything. So I try to watch his game and steal from his students.
If there's one game that I had to look to in your college career and it kind of shows what you're all about, what game would that be?
In my college career, it's hard to sum that up into one game. I would say watch USC this year, Wisconsin, and you can watch the Cincinnati game 2 years ago. I mean, there's a lot of games you can watch, but this year USC, Ohio State, Duke. Those are.
Cam, was there a moment in your college career where you were like, the NFL is going to be a future for me? Like a play, a moment, anything that resonates?
Not really in college. I mean, once I got to college and I understood what I wanted to do in my life, I mean, that was always the plan. That's something that I realized early on in my life. There wasn't a specific moment in college that I'm like, okay, this is going to lead to the NFL. It was just a matter of time at that point. We had a wrinkle. We didn't play a normal defense. Coach Golden put in some kind of freaky defense that's kind of hard to explain. But for me, I've been playing Caleb since high school, so I kind of knew what he brought to the table. Obviously, he's gotten better, and obviously he's a magician out there. So it's definitely a hard week of prep, but I took it as every other game. I take every game the same. I prepare for every game the same. I respect every guy the same. So yeah.
What was it like growing up against
In high school, man, he was special. He was young, so I didn't play him in youth football. Obviously, he played in that area, but I didn't play against him in youth football, so I didn't really know until I played him. But he was always special. The things y'all seen on Saturdays in college is the things he was doing in high school. So
Cam, have you met with the Cowboys?
I have.
Formal or informal?
Informal.
What do you like about the franchise? What do you like about the conversation?
Cowboys, it kind of reminds me of Notre Dame. It's like America's team. Gets a lot of hate sometimes, but yeah, I mean, I like the organization. I'll be glad for any team that picks me, honestly. It's a blessing.
Cam, you referenced versatility, inside, outside. Would you say that that's a part of your game that you really want to carry over to the next level?
Certainly. Coach Mickens, again, he did a really good job preparing me to play any position in NFL. I know safety in and out. I know what the linebackers are doing in and out in our defense. And then I especially know boundary, field corner, and nickel. So I've practiced at nickel all year. I have game film at nickel when we played at Louisville, so I have a great understanding of
What is it about the slot that is appetizing for you?
Appetizing, I wouldn't use appetizing. All the quarterback positions are appetizing.
Yeah.
But nickel, I mean, it's just different. You're closer to the ball. You're in more run fits. You're guarding shiftier receivers, but I mean, it's no different than playing boundary corner, because boundary corner you're in the run fit as well. And nowadays they're putting all types of guys outside, so you never know.
Cam, that Ohio State game, this kid, resume,
Certainly.
what was in your mind that was preparing for your game, going through that for the game?
Certainly, obviously we played them a year before, and like I said earlier, I prepare for every game the same. It doesn't matter if you're the number one receiver in the country or the number 500 receiver in the country, right? So I prepare for it the same as I prepare for every other game. I didn't put too much focus on it. I didn't get too high, didn't get too low, and just went through that week the same as I always do. So I didn't put too much reverence in any guy's hand. I don't care if they were number one team in the country. I was going to prepare the same. So.
You said you.
Success. Did that do anything for your confidence?
No.
I did what I was supposed to do.
I did what I was supposed to do. I mean, I'm self-motivated. I don't get my motivation or confidence from anybody. And so yeah.
Was that the best matchup assignment that you had?
A Mecca, number 2, he's pretty good. So between him and Marvin, yeah, one of those.
Or even throughout,
throughout college,
or yeah,
the season. Marvin was pretty solid. Number 2, Ohio State Mecca was pretty solid. Zay Flowers, it was a good matchup. Josh Downs was good. I mean, I've guarded some. Drake London. And there's some guys that I guarded now. So yeah, those guys this year was probably the most solid for sure.
You said you were really.
Jaguars. Yeah, I had an informal with them.
You only had like 3 or 4 pass breakups. This was gotten pass breakups this year, but quarterbacks were really threw your way too. How is it to kind of have that week in the Senior Bowl where you kind of had a chance to show teams that you can make plays?
Yeah, I went to Senior Bowl focusing on specific things, making sure I get the ball production that I didn't get in the season, and just honestly going to Senior Bowl and just showing what I can do. I mean, I've been doing that for 3 years now. I do it every day in practice, so I already knew that I can do it. It was just a matter of showing at that point. So I didn't go into the Senior Bowl with any crazy expectation. It was just do what I do, do it well.
You said you were proud of becoming a captain at Notre Dame and your leadership. What qualities and characteristics does it take to be a leader on the defensive side of the ball?
I think I slept on trait is building relationships. And that was one big thing that I did at Notre Dame, especially this past year with the younger guys. There's a lot of guys who come into, Notre Dame's a hard place, right? And it's hard to kind of fit in, and it's hard to get your footing at a place like Notre Dame. And I made sure that the young guys had an idea of what that feels like, right? I come from a place where it wasn't as hard. The high school that I went to prepared me well, but there's some guys who didn't get that advantage. So I was big on relationships and making sure the young guys had an understanding where they can go and what they can do at Notre Dame.
You mentioned Coach Mickens earlier. He's kind of had a promotion since now he's coaching all the defensive backs. What do you kind of think of that, and how do you think he'll handle it?
I think it's good. Coach Mickens I feel like he can coach any position on the defense back end. My relationship with him was well, but I also had an advantage. I came in, I switched to cornerback my freshman year, but I didn't play the back half of my freshman year. So that sophomore year was really like my first legit year at corner, and that's when Coach Mickens came in. So our relationship grew since then. But even with the other guys, I mean, it's going to be good to have them all in one room, hearing the same terminology, getting the same coaching, and I think it would be better for them.
You taking a 6'2" or 6'3"?
Somewhere in there.
So as a long corner,
Yeah.
going against them, you mentioned Josh Downs, Flowers, really good route runner. At your length, what allowed you to be able to stick with those routes?
Sure. I mean, I got feet. I have my feet is comparable to a 5'9" corner. So I feel like I can guard anybody and just put hands on them and just know who you're going against. I mean, film study, knowing tendencies, knowing route recognition, things like that.
Was there something physically you did to develop that football?
No, I mean, I think I always had it.
just came.
I mean, I play receiver, so I had to run every route. So yeah.
Last question.
Can you talk a little bit about your transition from receiver and just how that's helped you, become a
Transition from what?
from receiver, and how that's helped you in your transition to cornerback in college?
Like I said, I mean, being able to run every route and it's mimic on the back end and just an opposite, obviously. And then, like I said, I played defensive back my entire life, so it wasn't a crazy transition. It's more so just learning the position intellectually and gaining the football IQ in that aspect.